Hi guys, it's Sarah. So today in this video, we are going to be working on the double crochet or DC. So the double crochet is like its predecessors. You know, you got your single, you can see nice and tight, half double, looser. This is your double. You can see how tall. It's like little soldiers in a row standing on top of each other. So this is probably the most common stitch you're going to come across in crochet. It's fast. It grows your work really quickly. It's flexible. There's a lot of air holes in it. But like all your granny squares, your Afghan squares, all your scallops, the things like that, they're all going to use, most of them use your double crochet stitch. So this is going to be the most popular. Now this stitch is a little bit different when it comes to the turning chain. There are some rules. So anything double crochet or taller, like your triple double, your triple, anything like that, the turning chain rules are going to be a little bit different. So on this one, you remember your single crochet, you had a turning chain of 1. Your half double, you had a turning chain of 2. This one, I think you can guess where I'm going with this. You have a turning chain of 3. So I've already done my 10. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3. Now, this turning chain that you just made, that's going to count every single time, unless the pattern tells you otherwise. That's going to count as your first stitch. So we're going to count that as 1. And where do you now? So now where do we put this? So we've made a turning chain of 3. We want 10 stitches, and that counts as 1. So we want to put it, you always put it the 4th chain from your hook. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So just like your half double, you're going to swing that around, yarn over, put it into the 4th chain from the hook. You're going to pull up a loop, and you have 3 loops. So instead of pulling it through all of them like you did on the last stitch I taught you, you're going to go through only the first 2. So you still have 2 loops on your hook. And then you're going to yarn over, loop that around, and go through the last 2. So if you can see, you have 2 stitches now. You have your turning chain stitch, which counts as 1. There's 2. So then you're going to go all the way down to the very end. So we've got 3, 4, 5, 6. So I'm going to do it in slow motion here. You're going to yarn over, and you're going to go into your next chain. Okay, see that? You got 3 loops on your hook. So you're going to pull up, you're going to grab that yarn and pull it through that first chain. So we have 1, 2, 3. Now you're going to swing it around, grab that yarn, kind of pull it so that that hooky point is down, and you're going to go through 2. So you still have 2 on your hook. Swing it around, 2. All right, so we're going to go to the end here. Now, when you get to the end, you're going to go in that last chain next to the knot. Okay, so there's our 10 stitches. Don't believe me? Turning loop, that was 1, remember? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So there's our 10. Now, We have our turning chain of 3. Remember? 1, 2, 3. Now this is where it's going to start to make sense as to why we count it as our first one. You can see, because basically your double stitch is you're like making little pillars. And so our first pillar is on the end. So there's our first pillar. That's our turning chain. That's our first pillar. So our second stitch is going to be our second pillar. And it's going to go right above the one underneath it. So you can see where there's a little hole almost right above that one beneath it. That's where you're going to go. So you're going to yarn over. So you're going to swing that and bring it around town. And you're going to put it right into that stitch. And you're going to pull up that loop. So you got 3 on your hook, right? Yarn over. Okay, there's 1. Yarn over. There's 2. That's your double. See? And then, so we're our next one, you know where I'm going with this. It's going to go right above the one below it. So yarn over. Oops. Sometimes when you use economy yarn, you get these little, it splits a little bit. So you got to be careful with that. Otherwise you're going to be, you can pull threads and stuff like that. Okay, so yarn over. All right, we're going to go on top of the next pillar. All right, so we're going to load up. Boom, boom. So we are at 1, 2, 3, 4. We're going to go down to the end. 5, 6, 7. All right, now 8 and 9 are easy. Your last one is where it gets tricky. So 9, that's going to be, you can tell our 9th one is right above this last one. So then 10, it needs to go above your last one here, right? You can see it needs to go above this one, but you don't want to go into that hole because then you end up with like gaps and stuff like that. So I have found that the best thing to do is you want to go right next door to this last one. And you're going to go into this chain, not under it, not in the hole, but you're actually going to use one of the loops of this turning chain. So yarn over and you're going to go into the loop of that turning chain, which was your first stitch. Okay. And so then that way you get a nice even edge. All right, so we're going to go back the other way. 1, 2, 3. That's our turning chain. That counts as our first stitch. So there's 1 stitch, and you know where the next one goes. It goes right on top of the second stitch here. So we're at 2, 3, okay, so yarn over, go through the next in line. Okay, pull that through. You got 3 on your hook. Pull through 2, pull through 2. All right, now the good thing about double crochet is you can see exactly how many you've done. So that always counts as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We got 5 more to do. 6. And remember, you're going basically right on top of the one below it. 7, 8, 9, and remember, we're going right next door to this little soldier. So we're going to go into the top of that turning chain. 10. And so that is how you do your double crochet. It makes like a really nice pretty mesh pattern. So it's nice and tall, makes a great flexible stitch for you. So that is the turning chain. Now our next one, so we've done the double. So our next one on our next video is going to be, look at this bad boy, the triple. And honestly, they just get taller and taller and taller. Now you're really not going to use much more than a triple, if ever. I can only think of a couple patterns where I've ever actually used a triple, but that's going to be our next video. So I want you to go ahead and practice your double. So you can see I made one previous. So you got your double and it's nice and tall. It goes fast. This would make a great scarf pattern. So really, really learn this one well, because that's going to be your bread and butter of a lot of your crochet stitches. All right, I'll see you back here again. Bye guys.